All right, well, let's pick up now on the story of how the State Capture Commission investigators have reportedly subpoenaed a number of South African banks in order to obtain the financial records of economic freedom fighters leaders Julius Malema and Floyd Shivambu. But could this put a dampener on the party's plans ahead of the country's local government elections next year? Bringing some analysis now to this conversation is Dr. Sem Goma. He's a political analyst at the Mill Park Business School and the head of research there. Let's speak to Dr. Goma now. Doc, thank you very much for making the time to speak to us. Firstly, does or should this come as a surprise to the leadership of the EFF, or is it something that they should have anticipated?
Yes, thanks, Xoli, for having me. It should not be coming as a surprise at all, because the EFF has rightly pointed out that they were the first, among other parties, to defend the establishment of the Judicial Commission to look into state capture, fraud allegations and corruption in organs of state.
Yeah.
Now, first things first, Xoli, a careful reading of the terms of reference of the commission led by Deputy Chief Justice Zondo, which were duly signed by the former President Jacob Zuma, does provide that the commission can investigate whether any functionary in any organ of state influenced the awarding of tenders to benefit themselves, their families, or entities in which they hold a personal benefit. So what happened 2 weeks ago regarding the subpoenas which were issued by the commission related to Mr. Zuma and his family relates or arises from these particular terms of reference. What we're reading today from the Sunday Times, the headline that speaks to now the two gentlemen who are leaders of the EFF, namely Mr. Malema and Mr. Floyd Shivambu, basically relates to this very same scope of investigation that falls within the jurisdiction of the commission.
Yeah.
Now, we are hearing that this could be, the source of this investigation could be arising from whistleblowers. You remember already there have been some rumors regarding how the Glad Africa tender, which was engulfing the seat of Tshwane, also had to do with some of the leaders of the EFF. Of course, it remains an allegation.
Yeah.
We know what is happening in the city of Joburg regarding the AfriRand fleet management tender worth 2 billion rand. That may also be coming from that, or it could be coming from the 2011 investigation, which was completed by the former public protector, Xoli Mngambi, related to the On Point Engineering Company that was awarded a tender by the Limpopo Provincial Department of Roads and Transport. So this can happen to anyone. It can happen to a sitting minister. It can happen to a former minister. It can happen to a sitting president, because it falls within the terms of reference of the commission. So in a nutshell, Xoli, there's no witch hunt or fishing expedition that is being done by the commission regarding the issuing of the subpoenas to the banks to provide them with the bank records or banking records of the implicated individuals, in this instance, the two leaders of the EFF.
Yeah. Dr. Goma, and I must point out that we running this story based on the reports that are emerging from the Sunday Times. The commission, it hasn't come out to either confirm or deny that they have subpoenaed this kind of information. But interestingly, in what you have spoken about in the last few seconds, you speak about whistleblowers having been perhaps the trigger for this. Can that commission afford to hide the identities of these whistleblowers, because we know that the country does have laws that protect whistleblowers? Or, and if it does hide their identities, might it face attacks the kind of attacks that we have seen the former president, Jacob Zuma, slinging against that commission and its commission head?
Yeah, thanks, Xoli. Politicians, when they are cornered, will always find a way to attack or issue reckless statements against the very same state institutions or organs of state that have been legally founded or established through the laws that they are passed by Parliament. And these are lawmakers who are expected to even support the work of the Commission. But remember, even from the outset, when Deputy Chief Justice started presiding over the Commission, he made a point calling upon everyone who might have information regarding the scope of the work of the Commission, which is to inquire into allegations of state capture, fraud, corruption within organs of state or within government institutions, to come forward, either to depose an affidavit or compile a dossier or become a protected whistleblower or in any form. So that has always been encouraged by the Commission to say anyone who might have information regarding the work of the Commission, please assist the Commission. So this is the sense I'm getting, that this could be a source. As I said, a source of this investigation could be coming from the whistleblowers.
Yeah.
Others, remember, in other departments, they've been sending memorandum or letters to the Commission, hiding their names, their identity, and all of that.
Yeah.
So that so happened, yeah.
I want you, Doc, to contrast then for me the posture of the two leaders. On Thursday, I spoke to Julius Malema, and almost coincidental that if and when called upon to go and answer whatever issue of whatever nature to that commission, will he respect the work of the commission and go there and present himself? And he said, look, I'll go there even without a lawyer, okay? And then, and then you have Floyd Shivambu today on the back of the reports in the Sunday Times. And I'm going to try and paraphrase him because it's quite long what he's written. But he says, now that the Zondo and the handled administrators of the State Capture Commission are failing to pin down the Guptas, they are now seeking to use the commission to fight political battles of Jamnandas, and I'm sure you will know who Jamnandas is in their vocab, of course. And he then finishes off by saying, we will expose the misguided political agendas of that commission. He ends off by saying, disgusting. How do South Africans make sense of what Julius Malema says and what Floyd Shivambu says?
Yeah, thanks, Xoli. I think what we need to applaud the EFF for is that, remember, they're the ones who took the government, the president, the former president Zuma, to the Constitutional Court regarding the affirmation of the remedial action measures taken or undertaken by the public protector. So for that, I will always regard them as the defenders and upholders of the Constitution. And I followed the interview you had with Mr. Malema the other day. My sense is that he's someone who will always be willing to go before the commission and state his side of the story. Remember, at this stage, we are not dealing with accused individuals. This will be witnesses. So you simply go to the commission to state your side of the story. What do you know? What is it that you don't know? And all of that. And you can always furnish or adduce some form of evidence before the commission. Yeah. My reading of the tweet by Mr. Shivambu, my sense is that I think it's more of a diversionary tactic. If I'm implicated in a particular proceeding as a leader, especially because these are lawmakers, they took an oath of office, I should be willing and volunteer to present myself to such a proceeding to state my side of the story. Yeah. So for me, it's more of a diversionary tactic at this stage because remember the focus of the commission has always been around the Guptas, Zuma. But now we are getting to other individuals who may not be drawn from, in this instance, the ANC. Yeah. As I said, it can happen to anyone who served in government before or currently serving in government.
Yeah. Final question to you, Doc. The EFF, and we've got to be honest and fair, the EFF leadership, when it comes to the VBS matter, we know that that matter is before courts, but none of the EFF leadership have been indicted by the law enforcement authorities. We know that the executive of that bank is now before courts, one of them already convicted, serving a sentence, but also turned state witness. So, summation, we have not had a leader of the EFF being hauled before the courts to say answer to allegations of looting VBS Bank. Now, you then have this process of the State Capture Commission, if indeed it does come to fruition, that they go there and answer. Based on all of this that's happening around the EFF, might it have an impact on their political fortunes, in particular as we look ahead to local government elections next year?
To a limited extent, because generally voters in South Africa, it has been proven through evidence and research that voters generally tend to vote for parties based on issues of identity, loyalty, policies, and less on the personal conduct facing a leader. We have seen that in 2014 when former president of the ANC, Zuma, led the ANC campaign. He was facing corruption allegations, but yet he was able to lead his party. Last year, the EFF led its 2019 national election campaign amid the VBS scandal. And Xoli, if you look at the outcome of the 2019 national elections, the EFF is the biggest winner. It is the only party, followed by the FF Plus, which were able to garner more parliamentary seats. So my reading is that come the 2021 elections, the EFF will remain a power broker, a kingmaker, especially in the metros. But I don't see them clinching or controlling a municipality, because locally, the only barometer or indicator we can use to gauge their support is through the results of the by-elections. The by-elections were deferred as a result of the onset of COVID-19. So Xoli, in the next few months, let's see and analyze the results of the by-elections to get a sense whether the EFF will still remain a power broker, especially in the metros and other places, or it may gain some voting support in some of the municipalities to be able to start controlling or governing a municipality. So I'm saying it has been shown that voters do not really look at the personal conduct of a party. We tend more to look at issues of personality like charisma and other issues related to the party's policies and all of this. So the EFF will remain an agenda-setting party in the foreseeable future in South Africa.
Dr. Sam Koma, thank you very much for your analysis this afternoon. And he is an analyst and someone who heads up the research department at the Mill Park Business School.